Welcome, guys. Welcome to episode 1 of 0 to a Million in 90 Days. So joining me today for session 1, this is our first recording. This is going to be the first time that I actually think about anything. I don't have a plan yet. I don't have an idea yet. So this is all brand new. And I've got my book. So everything over the next 90 days is going to be written into this book. This will be every idea, every process, every framework, every contact, etc. will be written down in this book. So joining me today for our first session is one of the coaches that's going to be coaching me through this process. And it's Kelley. So Kelley is from Canada, Anchorage, if I'm correct. And she's going to take us through this process. She's going to be my coach. I've joined multiple of her programs. She's an entrepreneurial coach, and she helps entrepreneurs to scale their businesses and just go through the thought process, strategy, brainstorming, etc. And I've known Kelley for a couple of years, and like I said, been through some of her programs, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. So I still use a lot of the trainings from all the different programs in my businesses today. So Kelley, welcome to the call today. Maybe a quick introduction. Are you from Anchorage, or where are you from?
No, and I actually don't know where Anchorage is yet. I'm from Calgary, so Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Yeah, no worries. And just, hey, everybody, excited to be here. Yes, I met Eugene. I was living back and forth in South Africa, building a business over in South Africa. That's how we connected and just met the most wonderful people over there. And I'm an entrepreneur. I've been one for about 12 years. My background's personal development and leadership development. That's my passion. I love supporting people and getting clear on who they are and what they want, and then giving them tools to achieve it. And I love the entrepreneurial space because I think we're all a little crazy and we all have big ideas and we love to chase our dreams. And I love being around growth-minded people. So excited to be here, Eugene. Yeah, and chat with you and support you with what you're wanting to achieve.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know anything about this, this is how to make $1 million in 90 days. So whatever currency, whether it's dollars or rands or euros, whatever, doesn't really matter because the prices just fluctuate based on your currency. And it's a process that I'm going to go through, debunking some of the myths. What's the biggest reasons that people use when they want to start their own business or when they want to scale their business? Is I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't have resources, I don't have teams, etc. So I'm starting this journey purely by myself. 90 days, I'm only going to work probably 1 to 3 hours per day on this because I still have other businesses to run, which means I'm working in the same amount of time as everyone else. And even from the first rand or euro or dollar, I have to put into the business. I have to get from somewhere else. I can't use any of my own money, any of my own resource, any of my teams, anything like that. So it's purely starting off scratch like anyone else does. The only two things that I'm going to utilize is coaches. So I want to show everyone how important a coach is. And then secondly is my network. And it comes down to that saying, your net worth is directly related to your network. So who are the 5 people that you're spending your time with? Because you become the average of those 5. So to take you through that process. And I think that's enough about it. So we're going to carry on for the next probably 45 minutes to an hour. That's kind of a normal coaching session. And Kelley is my coach through this program. And she's going to take us through some brainstorming tools and just get into it. So I think let's get into it, Kelley. So I gave you a quick background about my program and what I want to achieve. So yeah, let's get into it. So part of it today is, like I said, I don't have anything yet. I don't have an idea. I don't know where to start. I haven't done anything with this. I intentionally didn't allow any thought processes to go towards this. So cool. You've got a blank slate.
Yeah, well, you know what, I just want to ask you a few questions. Like, before we get into brainstorming, you just shared why you're wanting to do this, which I think is really cool, right? To bust up people's limiting beliefs around, that it doesn't have to be hard to get started in a business. I just want to dive a little deeper. Like, why else are you doing this? Because this is quite a big feat to take on. Why else are you doing this?
So this, from a person perspective, being an entrepreneurial coach myself and running these 90-day programs and workshops and training series, scaling your business, starting businesses, and then the biggest reason I get when people say I want to start my business is I don't have money to start my business. And I just want to show them that you don't need your own money. You can, when the deal is structured correctly and when there's enough value in it for someone else, then you'll actually find the money. But you want to sell things that's not sellable. Sitting here with my pink pen, it was lying on a desk. The other reason is I started finding myself in a comfort zone. So things are going well. We're getting some really nice clients. I've got my mastermind community, and I'm constantly pushing them out of their comfort zone. And I've got my own coaches, and they push me out of my comfort zone. I felt like something to really push me to completely shift what I'm busy with. And at this point in time, my calendar is actually up. Let me show you my calendar.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is my calendar for the year. So as you can see, like every day in this calendar is blocked out. Like every day is just absolutely crazy. We've got events, then I've got coaching. Next week, fully booked, like session after session coaching. So where do I have the time to go and do something else? And I think that's been the biggest obstacle, setting a limit, a time frame on this. Not to say I want to make $1 million in whenever it comes, to actually set a limit. I need to have it by then. I watched a show called Undercover Billionaire. They kind of start off with $100 pickup truck and a cell phone, and then they have to build a business valued at $1 million. So that was a really cool show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And going through the process, these guys had a business that's valued at $1 million, but how much money was actually in their pocket? And that's the thing that I want to shift in this, is not building a business worth $1 million, building something where you actually have $1 million rand or euros or dollars in your pocket, where you have access to physical cash. So that's the differentiating factor. And for me, just to get myself out of my comfort zone, just to do something that will push me, because I don't have the time for it. I don't have anything. So it was actually a personal thing. It's got nothing to do with anyone else. And then I started speaking to a few friends about it. And everyone just asked me, how can they be part of this? How can they, what is their step to go through this whole process? And can they run their own thing? And where am I going to share this stuff? And through that, I thought, well, let's make it a public thing. There's nothing that pushes you and that drives you like making something public, because now everyone knows about it. So there's no, you can't say, oh, I can't do it anymore, I'm not going to do it, etc., all those limiting words. You have to do it because you just made it public and you told everyone you're going to do it.
The best way to achieve a goal is to tell everybody, you know, because now your credibility is on the line.
Yeah. So a big part of it is not just about the money, whether I make it or not, no one knows. Maybe I'll make 10 million, who knows? There's different things that can go. Maybe I'll do nothing and it's a complete bust. I'm not too worried about what the outcome of it is. For me, it's about the process of shifting my mindset. It's almost like jumping off a diving board. If you jump enough times, that height becomes your average and you don't even think about it anymore, like driving a car. So what do you do to move yourself up to a higher diving board that it starts scaring you? And for me, at my level where I'm at, this is scary for me. This is not a thing that I just go through and it's like, oh, it's easy to do. There's still that section of failure, this fear of failure, because that's our biggest fear, is the fear of failure. So I think for me, it's to constantly shift my mindset, to think bigger, to think more, to see what I'm capable of, to go through that whole process. Can I actually do this? So it's to test my own limiting beliefs as well.
I love it. And so, okay, so what would you say right now are some of the skills you have, just so that we can throw those out there and take a look when we're starting to mastermind? Like what's some of the skills you bring to the table?
So tech, I've got tech companies. So anything in tech, we've got cybersecurity. I actually had a meeting before this with someone just exploring some opportunities. I didn't think about it to be part of this challenge. They want to get into cybersecurity. So I started thinking about what's the possibility of having cyber awareness training for corporates, where we take them through and make it fun. Because what's the biggest problem of corporate training is you sit there and you fall asleep in the training. So creating fun, engaging things, showing how real cyber threats are and what you can do to limit yourself against this. So skills is cyber training or cyber awareness and ethical hacking, those type of things. Technology from like an IT perspective, systems, software. And then I think probably my two biggest skills is strategy. So business strategy, coming up with strategies that actually work, scalable strategies. And then funnels. So online systems, so websites, sales funnels, marketing. And then something that I haven't thought about is events. So we've run probably about 60, 70 events for ourselves and for clients over the last couple of.
You haven't thought about it, but yet you've ran 60 or 70.
Yeah, so I never thought
That's
it's a
pretty
skill because
amazing.
you kind of just do it. We don't think too much about it, we just do it. So skills, yeah, so I'd say one of my biggest skills is the sales funnels, the technical stuff about the sales funnels and the marketing and stuff like that. And then maybe events.
And also your leadership too, right? Like leadership around leadership and communication.
Yeah.
You're great at training. Like if we look at skills outside of the technical stuff, you're great at training, building teams.
Yeah.
Right.
Funny,
Community
we
building.
don't want to say, what do you do that? It's like, am I allowed to say this? Like, we're so humble towards saying, because you get brought up, you're not allowed to say.
Yeah, but you know what? That's part of the thing when with making money. It's like you got to be able to acknowledge your skills, right? All of those things. And so just curious, what have you done in the past that's generated the most money? Like what are some of the things that you've done that create higher incomes, or sorry, higher results and profits?
Just want to write it down. So definitely the training side of things. Out of our events, we've generated decent amounts of money. So entrepreneurial training, digital marketing training, showing people the correct way of marketing their business using Facebook, Instagram, etc. My PC shop. So we took some money. So we've got a retail outlet selling refurbished desktops and laptops, Refurb PC City. So that's been fairly successful, marketing that online. So also digital marketing side, even the training and events was using digital marketing to fill the events. The events and then the coaching, running coaching webinars, getting coaching customers in, had a really high success rate in signing up coaching contracts, big executive coaching contracts, etc.
Yeah. Okay. So the main thing right now is you're looking to generate a whole bunch of ideas of how to get to 0 to 1 million, and then just start acting on the ones that resonate the best. Would that be kind of where you're at right now, is like idea generation stage?
Yeah, so I think it would be ideas. And I think even before ideas is people. So maybe one or two ideas I can tell you. I haven't been thinking too much about it. I'll tell you some of the ideas that I have. But I think for today's session, after we just jump into 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 ideas, is people. So partners, investors, team, etc. Because I'm only going to be working an hour a day on this. So I need a good team around me to be able to do this. Or that's my perspective. You can come with something else.
Okay. So tell me more about investors. Like, tell me more about what you mean by that.
So what I've been thinking about is creating a compelling offer because I don't have any money, or I can't, no, that's a limiting word. I'm not allowed to use part of the conditions of the programs. I'm not allowed to use any of my money. So I need to get money from somewhere. So the options that I thought about getting money, or the options that I'm thinking about now for getting money, would be maybe sell something that I have, maybe doing an odd job for someone, like even as stupid as going to mow someone's lawn, getting some money in just to pay for the basic stuff. Yeah, offering some sort of service, product or whatever to get some money in. So that would be one. The other idea I had about getting some money in is getting investors in, creating some sort of compelling offer where I can say, okay, cool. So here's some sort of deal that we're running, or this is the program that we're running, or the event that we're running, and they invest some money into this and then offering them something in return. So I don't know what the compelling offer would be yet for them, why someone would invest in it. Some of the things I thought about is like a decent return on money. Other thing I thought about is, or that I'm thinking about, is maybe being part of it in some way. So I don't know if you, well, there's a couple of different guys. I think it's accessories, whoever it is. A lot of these public speaking events that you get, I heard from, I haven't been a speaker at any of those type ones, so I'm talking out of someone else's mouth. The speakers actually pay to speak there, so they front some money in the beginning. So they have to give, for example, 50,000 Rand to speak at the event, and that money goes to the marketing. And then they're allowed to sell, and it's kind of this pitch fest. Each speaker gets like an hour to speak, and then they sell off stage. And then the company that creates the event and manages the event, they take a percentage of sales, and then the speaker keeps the rest of his sales. So you really need to get good speakers that can pitch off stage if you want to do something like that. The point of it being, those speakers pay 50,000 Rand to speak at this event, then they get like 1,000 people at the event, and the speaker can then speak at the events and sell their products and services. So getting something like that in, maybe if I do a speaking event, is charging speakers up front to be at the event, and their money would kind of pay for the marketing and stuff to start running it, and then upsell from there. Another thing I thought about is just getting investors in and say, okay, here's, for example, invest 50,000 Rand. I'll give you additional, or double your money back, 50,000 Rand back in the space of 90 days. Might even be sooner than 90 days. Because then if you take over a year term, so 100% over 3 months, there's 4 quarters, so it's about a 400% return per annum.
Yeah.
Where also you can invest your money where you get a 400% return over a year. Bank gives you 10% or 8% or whatever it is. So it's a decent return, yet it's higher risk. What I can do is I can, just to sweeten it, I don't know if it conflicts the terms of the challenge, I can personally guarantee the money in my personal capacity. So if the deal flops, it's 100% capital guarantee and the chance of doubling it. So there's no risk for you. So I think it's a fairly good deal. I would probably invest in something like that.
You could even do something like, I'm even thinking like, if you're asking, you're getting these investors involved, they're obviously going to be buying into your vision, right? And align with what you're doing. Like the people you've been talking to are getting excited about it. Maybe it's not so much the return, it's like a value through an experience, right? So it could even be like, if you give 5,000 at the end of this, I'll hold a personal retreat for you guys or something. I mean, I don't know, just thinking like, you know, entrepreneurs, they like growth themselves. It's not always about money in, money out. So it's like, or coming and being on stage to sell. Maybe you just have different options. I like the options framework, like where you give people 3 options. It's like, well, if you were to invest 5,000, what would you prefer? To be able to come on stage and pitch your course, to be able to get double your money back, or would you like some kind of course or retreat for yourself with high-end entrepreneurs who also invested?
That's awesome. That's very cool. Love that.
And then they get to choose. It just opens it up, I think. I don't know. Anyways, just off the top of my head as we're chatting.
Yeah, I love all of that. So actually sit with them and say, listen, we've got this investor package.
Yeah.
Here's the amount, so call it $5,000, whatever, to invest in this. And then this is the 3 options that you can invest in: package 1, package 2, package 3. Which one would you like to explore? And down that path.
You might get more investors, and then at the end of the day, you're just needing to get that startup capital, right?
Yeah.
That's the win-win. I'm always thinking, like, what's the win-win, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I like your idea of double the money, yet is it smart? I don't know, maybe that's being too generous. There's a lot of money back out.
Yeah, maybe for the first 2 or 3, just create a no-brainer. So the first 2 or 3, I want to create like a no-brainer option, where they don't even need to think about it.
Maybe that's how you create urgency for the first 3 people that do the money back. You get 100%.
This is why you need a coach. I don't think about this.
Yeah, and then after that, it's 50%. So people are like, "Dang, I want the 100%." You know, I'm in.
It's 100%. Yeah, definitely. Because if I can get the first 3 in, that already gives me 150 to start working, start working on branding, etc., etc.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think the investors would probably depend on the type of event that I'm running. So if it's a speaking event, there'll be someone. So if we look at events, what type of events that would probably fall more under the ideas section. If we look at events, like what events, obviously speaking and stuff like that, personal development, business event would be one of my top choices, because that's what I enjoy. And then maybe a music festival, something like that. I haven't run a music festival yet, so it's a bit out of my scope. I know there's a lot of sponsors available for music festivals.
Oh, okay, so if you're looking for the sponsorship side.
Yeah, so that's also options, getting sponsors in. So say, okay, we've got a music festival of, I don't know, 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 people. I don't know how many people go to the music festival. And get sponsors in. I know a lot of the alcohol companies also look for that. A lot of the insurance companies, banks, etc., etc. Well, the banks would probably more align with business coaching, the entrepreneurial or the entrepreneur event, because that's all business owners, where they're going to get the chance to be in front of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 business.
Yeah.
That wants to move on.
And I think I mean, open to all ideas because we're brainstorming, yet I almost would also say what aligns with your brand and your message. Like, does a music festival more align, or an entrepreneurial event? Like looking at that too, like if I was to invest, for example, I think a music festival is cool, but it doesn't really align with what my message is going to be, or what my skills are, or what my service or offering is going to be, or the audience that I want to be in front of necessarily.
Yeah.
Just food for thought, right? Like looking at your and your contacts, your network is highly entrepreneurial based.
Yeah, totally agree. And I don't know anything about running a music festival.
Yeah, like I would stay in your lane, especially because that would be always open, yet my guidance would be like, stay in your lane and kind of what you know, and upscale, because that's where your confidence is, and that's where your network is.
Yeah, and there's a lot of security around it. I know they had a music event now recently, and as the guys were coming out the gate, everyone's phones got pickpocketed.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
It's all those things that you never, I mean, you don't even think about having that. Yeah. As soon as they go out to their car, there's guys standing there and stealing their phones. So you have to think about that stuff as well.
Those things too.
Warren Buffett calls it your circle of competence, the things that you know about.
Right.
Especially not for something this radical. If it was something I'm testing out, I want to get 100 people or 500 people to an event, maybe.
Yeah. And I would look at one to many, right? Like, so who do you know, if we're going back to people, and have a really cool masterminding exercise we can do in a few minutes, yet if we're staying on the people side for a sec, it's like, who do you know that has a one to many, right? So, because the thing is, you can sit there and be picking up the phone and putting all your effort into getting people, or you can get 10 people who could bring, 50 people type thing. So who is a one to many in your network? Like, Are we allowed to say names on here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like I'm thinking Cobus, right? Like you mentioned him already, right? Like he's a one-to-many, he already has a following. Who's that guy who does, I don't know if you know him, Robin Banks, right? In South Africa. He's pretty popular, right? Like he's got a massive following, like getting in there. Like I mean, you probably know a lot of people that it's like if you can create the value for them somehow, they can bring people with them. Like who do you like, could you sit down and make a list of like 20 people off the top of your head?
Yeah, I can do that. So I think that can come be part of the homework. Because there's not a lot of high level speakers in South Africa. So it's easy to find them. There was some of the names I'm not going to say on here because I haven't spoken to them about it. If there's people that I know that's highly connected with all the speakers, I know someone else that's very connected with the real estate space. I know someone else that's connected with the investor space, etc., etc. I met someone in Thailand now on a business retreat to Thailand that's also very connected and a really cool guy. So he's
I mean, I know a couple people in South Africa as well that you might not know because I was there building with a lot of women, right? And so I know some pretty powerful women entrepreneurs who have big followings too. So that some of the people you know might know some people. So I think the power of sharing your story as well, right, with people and saying, who do you know?
Yeah, that would significantly cut the cost of advertising if we can get someone with, or maybe 10 or 20 people with a huge following to say, let's do this.
Right. And then, of course, it's like comes back to the value. So why would they want to do that? Right. So putting some food for thought in that, like, why would a Robin Banks want to come to your event and invite his entire network?
Yeah. So my thought process around the speaker event is so I just have to think, maybe just give you a few insights as well. Why would a speaker pay to be at an event? Number one. Number two, why would someone like Robin Banks, for example, share his list? Well, if we 10 people all sharing our list, then we all contribute out of, or we all benefit out of this. So maybe there's going to be different options, like either you have to bring 100 or 200 people to the event, or you don't have to do anything and you just contribute to the marketing and pitch up at the event. Because for someone to run their own event and get in front of 200 people, I don't know, 50, 100,000 rand. Yeah, for the same amount of running your own event, and you don't have to manage it, and you don't have teams, and you don't have to employ people. We'll do everything, and it's going to cost you a third of running your own event, and we'll do everything for you.
I like that convenience, right? It's like, it's convenience. You just need to show up. I once again, I like the options. Well, I'm just even thinking of myself. I'm like, why would I pay? Because normally it's like we say, hey, you pay me to come to an event a lot of times, right? So I'm like, why would I pay to be at an event? Possibly it's, once again, maybe it's not pitching, it's pitching the event and it's not pitching the event. Maybe it's pitching, once again, like some offering of an experience. I like experiences. So it's like, if I can get in front of people, if I could pay to get in front of people and sell my offerings, awesome. Yet there's got to be something else because I could set that up myself and not have to pay. So is it that there's going to be a VIP? Maybe it's like all the speakers, there's some VIP club that I get to be a part of, and there's an offering within that VIP club. Like, so it's almost like I'm paying for a course or something. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like I'm paying for something that's going to benefit my growth in business, and the extra is that I get to be on stage promoting. So it's almost like the event's the extra. It's not what you're pitching. Just thinking out loud, what I would pay for. Like if you were like, Kel, listen, like, you know, pitch in 50,000 and you get to come here and do a retreat. My buddy's going to be running some of it. There's going to be fire walking. I'm going to be teaching digital marketing. You're going to get to collaborate with high-end entrepreneurs. We'll do 3 sessions of masterminds over 90 days. And oh, by the way, you get to come to this event and speak and pitch your course. Yet you get to be there. You need to be able to agree also with the money to bring 30 people. You know what I mean? Or something. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting versus, hey, you pay to be at the event. And I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm bought into that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just, I also don't really understand that because I just heard that some people are doing it. So it's one of the options. I totally agree with it. Most speakers get paid to speak at an event.
Yeah.
But then again, if they get paid, then they're not allowed to sell their products or services. That's when they're actually allowed to pitch their products.
Exactly. So that could be the bonus too. Maybe you have different tiers of how much time people have. I have a great tool we could use for masterminding. Can we do it? This exercise, I think it'll help us come up with a lot of ideas, and it's super cool, and it'll just open the floodgates. So I learned this tool from Bob Proctor. And so he said, when you have something you need a solution around, it's hard to come up with the best ideas in the same mind that created the problem or is like thinking of the idea, right?
Same level of consciousness as
yeah. So he's like, it's like to get yourself thinking completely different and out of the box. He's like, this is what you do. So what I want you to do is give me 4 people that you think are successful, like they have the qualities that you want in business. They're inspiring you. You look up to them, you learn from them. They're your mentors. Like, who would 4 people be? Like, I would say, like, you got this idea from what's his name? Who did the undercover?
Things Glenn Stearns and Grant Cardone. Was it
Grant Cardone? Okay, so Grant Cardone would be one, right? So I'd say Grant Cardone. And then we want 4 people who have different strategies and ways of coaching and being and building business. So Grant Cardone, he's a 10X guy. Like maybe Oprah, I would say Oprah. She's pretty inspiring. Everybody knows her.
So my 4 would probably be Grant Cardone, Richard Branson, Alex Hormozy, Richard Branson.
And can we say Oprah so we have a woman?
Yeah.
And Alex Hormozy. And you can keep adding more, but just for the example, we'll use these 4.
Yeah.
So now what you want to do is, let's say we'll start with Grant Cardone. So it's not Kelley and Eugene coming up with ideas right now. It's like, if I'm Grant Cardone and I'm like, okay, going from 0 to 1 million in 90 days, what are the ideas and strategies and ways that I would guide you to go about doing that? What's the thought process there? What would Grant Cardone say to do? And like, let's just throw out ideas.
He'd do something in property. So that's kind of his game, and that's what he did on Undercover Billionaire. So what they do is find, Grant Cardone would find someone that he can partner with, that he can add some sort of value.
Okay,
cool. And then build up from there.
Okay. I'm thinking he would say, just off the top of my head, because he's 10X, right? So he's like 1 million. He's like, go for 10 million, right? He's like, stretch your mind. So if you were to think of solutions for 10 million in 90 days, now all of a sudden the ideas become bigger and you're just going to stumble across 1 million. So how could you get 10 million in 90 days? Not changing your goal, but that's the thought process.
Yeah.
So what would he say? He would maybe say, find like that. So if now all of a sudden we're thinking 10 million, holy cow, that just raised the ante. So I'm thinking we need an elite group of people to be hanging out with to hit this goal. So maybe it's like, which 10 people do you know would invest like a large amount of money? Like, let's think bigger.
Yeah, so you definitely go for 10x. I like the idea of aiming for 10 million rather than 1 million. And because you can do the idea, so I know what his ideas would be because I watched the show. I think I'm more interested in the way that he thinks. Like, how would he think about this? What would his actions be? Not really the ideas, and his actions would definitely be to get a high-level team. You definitely 10x it, go for 10 million. What else would he do?
He has a team of people around him, doesn't he? That he has do a lot of the work. Like he doesn't operate alone. So it's like, speaking of high level people, also like building your high level team, right?
Yeah.
He's all about sales, right? So enrollment skills. So having something that you can sell that's high level and high tier. It's just as easy to find 10 people to donate 100,000 as it is to find the 100,000 to put in 10 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's there's the thought process around it. It's the mindset.
Yeah, he'd probably, instead of going for 4 people for 50,000, he'd go for 4 people with 1 million.
Exactly. Right. So just start thinking, who do you know? What businesses, what corporations, what contacts do you have? And maybe it's that one-to-many approach, but people who run high-end businesses where you could go in and say, listen, for 100,000, I'll teach your team this or something. You're willing to pay it.
Yeah, is something I've been noticing as well is there's abundance of money. Two big reasons why we're not in that money, or the times that we are not in that money, is number one, we're thinking about the money instead of the value that we're providing.
Yeah.
So number one. Number two is we're not in the flow of money. We're hanging around with wrong people. We're talking about the wrong things, thinking about the wrong things, etc. So we're not, because the money continuously changes flow, and you need to innovate and change your business to move into the flow. The biggest thing is value.
Yeah.
You've got enough value. People will give you 1 million. They'll give you 10 million. They'll give you.
Exactly.
So I think it's about coming up with something that's valuable enough for them that they'll exchange their money for value.
Exactly. How do you solve like the problem of the rich, like some of these entrepreneurs who are crushing it, right? Like, I think sometimes too, like when people in our minds are perceived above us, we don't think we can help solve their problems. Yet the truth is we can, right? Yet it's like really understanding what do they need support with? Like what maybe for them it's time, right? Like they don't have time. So it's like, how can you come in and solve the problem of time that doubles their money? I don't know, right? So you have your toolkit. So maybe it's not, this is my belief, is to not create, yes, we do this a lot of times, yet sometimes it's not about creating a course and creating the value around the course. It's having a conversation and finding out what is their need and then creating something around their need. Maybe just food for thought.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, your book that you're writing all these ideas in, that, like you said, this is $1 million book. So Grant Cardone might say, starts pre-selling that puppy. Do you know what I mean? Like listen, like start selling it now, like create, and that will help create the hype and create your brand and around this cool idea. And it's like, this is the $1 million book, you guys, right? Get it now. Like it's hot, right? Ideas. Like, so maybe you somehow pre-sell your book to like tons of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you kind of get the idea, right? What would Grant Cardone do? So okay, what about Oprah? So now shifting gears, okay, like, so that's Grant Cardone. We can keep adding on that afterwards. And you know, you're gonna have afterthoughts, right? So like once we hop off the call, keep your notebook open, because you're gonna be like, oh my God, Grant would say this, or here's an idea or whatever. So be aware that throughout the day I would keep your book on you, because ideas are gonna start coming.
Just something about the ideas about pre-selling the book. Also creating a course. So creating a course about 0 to 1 million, online course that someone can go through on their own time. Pre-sell some of that. Like by the end of this, I'm compiling all the recordings, and we'll actually go and edit all the recordings out. You'll get a copy of the book, everything in this online.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's really cool. Like that right there is a marketing strategy. How many people do you think would be interested in how to go from 0 to 1 million? People would pay for that. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. That's a great idea. Right? Like I think of that. Like I remember I took a course and the guy was like, how to have $10,000 days, right? And I was like, oh oh, $10,000 days. I'd like that. I took the course. Do you know what I mean? Like I like, and so, yeah, how to go from 0 to 1 million for entrepreneurs. They would be interested in that.
Okay. So everyone watching this video, if you'd be interested in a pre-sale of this book with all the ideas in that, I'm busy writing everything down and going through the coaching process, maybe we can do a discount deal. So I think we're going to sell this for 10,000 Rand for the whole package with the videos. Maybe a pre-sale for like 2,500 Rand. If you'd be keen on that, just let me know, pop in some details in the comments, and then let's see if that's maybe an option to go for. So if you like that idea, pop it in the comments. Cool. Next one, Oprah, you said.
Okay, Oprah. So what would Oprah say to do to go from 0 to 1 million? You know what pops into my mind, because she has her own network, right? It's like you just kind of mentioned it, selling this, but like, how do you actually sell, like make this like your documentary, or put it together and package it and sell it to a network? And maybe you could even start being like, now that you've done it, that then what it is, it could turn into a reality show where you now start teaching other entrepreneurs. So people who sign up for your course, you ask for permission to film them and part of their journey. Maybe it turns into something cool where all of a sudden you're filming other people's journeys and people are watching it and getting inspired. And now there's this whole movement of people going way outside their comfort zone. I mean, even if you don't hit 1 million, you're going to hit something else that you probably wouldn't have originally set.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's I like the idea about the 1 million, because that's one of the network, because that's one of the things I've been thinking about is creating a document. Or there's a show I watched where they traveled, German couple that flew to the US, and they bought one of that old yellow school buses, and they converted it, and they traveled for a year up to Alaska and then down to Mexico, and they just recorded the whole process, and it actually became a TV series.
See, like that's
so
cool.
Creating a documentary like that. So yeah,
I would watch that.
Yeah, so Undercover Billionaire, creating my own series of Undercover Billionaire, 0 to 1 million in 90 days. So it's basically the same as their stuff. The difference is I want the cash, not the valuation.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. Okay, what else would Oprah's all about? Like charity. So like possibly how can you attach like a give back, right? You know, like maybe when you hit your goal, you tithe 20% of it to something, or maybe every ticket sold at your events, a certain percentage goes back to charity. Maybe with the speakers, that's something you can do that's of value. It's like, what's their favorite charity? Maybe some of, like, you know how you said you would give double the investment back? Maybe that money goes to a charity instead of back in their pocket.
Yeah, so one thing that I've been getting quite involved in is there's a lady, Tanya, forgot her name, Tanya West, I think. She is involved in wildlife conservation, especially with rhinos. There's shocking things happening with rhinos in Africa, in South Africa, where the hornose rhinos are getting chopped off while they're still alive, and they've got babies around, and it's shocking. So we've actually created a few ventures. I'm getting quite involved with her stuff. We've brought over another business. Part of their terms was we're going to donate X percentage of profits every year for the next 10 years to a cause and to a foundation.
Okay.
So maybe it's something like that's where I want to get involved in, either kids or wildlife, defenses, people who can't defend themselves. So I want to help them. Now, kids.
Well, maybe you choose a charity you like and you start attaching that to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because,
so yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Go for it.
Well, I was just going to say people a lot of times buy into the charity versus the business, and then the bonuses they get the business side of the thing, right? Do you know what I mean? So that I think you'd get some people you wouldn't otherwise get if you have some kind of passion project attached to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. Oprah would say, so Oprah's kind of, I think, the opposite of, not the opposite of Grant, because Grant still does help the masses, but Oprah's kind of like, who are the people that don't normally get seen, right? So it's like, how do you get maybe into the townships? How do you get into where there's mass amount of people who you can use this kind of thinking as well, yet get overlooked? And maybe it's that they don't come to the event per se, yet it's like virtual, right? So how can they plug in from their living room? So maybe you have like a lower ticket item for whatever you do that can be virtual for people.
Yeah, I also think Oprah's really good at shining the light on others. So she interviews people and really hype them up, and she benefits from that. So maybe where can I help someone else that's a star to rise up, and somehow benefit from that? Or I manage the business and the strategy side, and they kind of just show up. So that would be something. She really likes giving back. She's got the school in South Africa, which is one of her charity projects. So
maybe you can donate a chunk there and get Oprah's attention. Actually, do you know what I mean? Like that would be kind of cool. Like maybe you call the school and say, "This is something I'm doing, and I'd like to donate like something big, like 50% of my proceeds to the school." And you get Oprah's attention somehow. Ask for her to be involved some way. It doesn't, you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, I think so under Oprah, saying who else is someone that, if I, for example, donate $500,000 to their cause or to their business in some regards, that they'll actually get involved in it.
Exactly. Or who there can you highlight? You just said she likes to shine the light on people. So could you go in and say, here's what I'm doing, yet I would like to offer, like, is there anybody here who has a business or does speak that could come and just be a part pro bono? Like maybe you give one of her people the light to shine as part of your events or something.
Yeah. Something as well as shining the light is, for example, taking someone else's business and helping them make 10 million in their business, and then say, give me 10% of the profits. So helping someone else make money, and then I'll take a cut of the profits. So that's also an option that Oprah would potentially work with.
Exactly.
She would definitely network. She's got a big network. She's got a lot of people that she knows, and she would probably go out and just get like 10 or 20 people together and do some sort of, remember that thing where they had all the celebrities on, I can't remember what cause it was. It was some woman abuse or something, where all of them came up and they had their t-shirts on and everyone said something about it, and they had this whole series about it. So I think she'd do something like that, where it's like getting a whole bunch of
everybody together.
Yeah, high-level people together for some sort of cause.
That would be cool. Maybe you do something like that, and it's a telethon where everybody's calling their lists and they're selling tickets to something where a certain percentage goes to your Rhino Passion Project or something. Oprah has her book club, so maybe your book that you're writing in right now could be looped into a book club idea or something.
Yeah.
Cool. So, okay. Any other thoughts from Oprah before we move on?
No.
Okay, let's do Richard Branson.
Who? So, fascinating story about Richard Branson. I've actually read all his books and watched all his documentaries and his Netflix series. So maybe there'll be a bit more ideas on Richard Branson than Oprah. Interesting story is, he's got Necker Island, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how he bought Necker Island? Have you heard the story?
No.
So I watched a documentary of him on the plane to Santorini to that Circle of Excellence business retreat. And he had a girlfriend in the US and he was staying in the UK and he didn't have money for tickets or something like that. So he found out from a friend that if you pretend, or that if you're interested to buy an island, they actually fly you over to the US to go look at the island. And he pretended to be interested in the island so that the company will fly him over so he can see his girlfriend. And I can't remember, the island was something like $2 million or 15 million, whatever it was, $2 million, call it 2 million. Because he bought it like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And they took him out to the island and they said, so Mr. Branson, are you interested in the island? And he says, yes, I'm very interested in the island. They said, so listen, so what do you want to offer for the island? Do you want to put in an offer? He says, yeah, I'll give you everything I have. I've got $80,000. They're like, dude, just get off the island. If you want to offer $80,000 for something that's 2 million, like,
yeah,
stupid. Get away. And he flew back, saw his girlfriend for a bit more, and then went back to the UK. About a year later, they called him and said, listen, Mr. Branson, in the last 12 months, you're the only person to come and view the island. So we can't do 80,000. Can you give us like 120,000? So he bought a $2 million island for 120,000.
No way.
Yeah, there were some rules around it. He had to turn it into a resort, and then, but yeah, for 120,000.
That's the coolest story, because it just goes to show too, like most people would be like, I can't afford that, I'm not going. And like he just got so creative to go and do something he wanted to do, and he ended up getting a $2 million island for 120,000 because like it's like that whole, I know he went to see his girlfriend, yet it's that like visualize your success before you succeed. Go and put yourself in that area, the environment, like act as if it's so, right? Like,
yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
The funny thing as well is by the time they called him back, he started Virgin Atlantic, the airlines.
Yeah.
The bank didn't want to fund him the money for the island. And then he went and bought some like 10 jets for 1.2 billion and they gave him a check for it.
That's cool. I like that. Well, and so if we're thinking of Richard Branson, right? Yeah, he's out there thinking, right? Like he's a visionary. So maybe that's like, it's like, maybe sit down and think like, I know you're like 90 days, 0 to 1 million yet, but where's this heading? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the bigger purpose of all of this? What's the bigger vision that this can turn into or be or lead to?
Yeah, yes. But I think that's, so I didn't start this with anything in mind. Like I said, it was literally just something to put me on or to push my comfort zone a bit. When I started thinking about the possibilities after this, like when this is done, absolutely insane. Like the programs that we can offer, the models that we can set up actual strategies that any entrepreneur can follow to be able to do this. From a business perspective, we can sell courses, we can sell online training, we can sell workbooks, we can write a book about it that actually gets published and sold. We can connect the book with the actual video. Like for example, this video goes with part 1 in the book. The next video goes with part 2 in the book, and then yeah, one of the things that he'd also think about is global. You probably wouldn't think of just running this in South Africa.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've been a part of 90-day programs, a lot of them, where the whole point is to level up and to go way outside your comfort zone. Yet if it was with people where this was the focal point, right? Everybody's got the same goal. Like imagine if you had 20 people in a 90-day, you run 90-day programs, yet the main goal was to do 0 to 1 million. And everybody for 90 days is on a sprint. Like who would you become? That's the point, right? Like you're going to be changing people's lives. It's not, it's about the money and it's not about the money. Like the person you need to become to achieve that, you'll be a different person in 90 days. And once you've done it once, you can do it again.
Yeah. So one of my thoughts has been as well, because there's a lot of businesses that goes up to 1 million and then they kind of stagnate there. They don't get beyond it. So my next challenge would be taking 1 million, turning it into 10 million.
Exactly.
90 days. And then I thought, okay, take 10 million, do it into 100 million, 90 days. I was like, okay, wow.
Yeah, well, I just got to do the 0 to 1,000,000 first. Yeah, I like it though, right? Because that's what starts to happen. You've raised the ceiling on what you're capable of.
That would really, so 1 million to 10 million, I can see it possible. 10 million to 100 million. Yes, that's like, that's something else.
I love it. Right. Richard Branson, speaking of his island, like that takes me back to like the retreats. So like going back to like less is more. So it's like, once again, getting 10 people to pay 100,000 to do a retreat. Bam, you got your goal. You know what I mean? So like maybe throwing those ideas around too. It doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be extraordinary. You know, it's like, it's got to be like the risk or like the growth or the uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be hard. So like 10 people to give you 100,000 for some kick-ass experience. Richard Branson is amazing at relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely built teams. None of his businesses, the trains, the airplanes, the gyms, he knew, I wouldn't say he knew nothing about it. He knew about the industry. He didn't know the intricacy of whatever that word is, of the industry. You'd get someone else in with the expertise that knows everything.
Right. So yeah. So once again, finding the right people who know, and that's kind of the shining the light thing, like building a team of people who are experts and better than you at things, yet you have that relationship with them.
Yeah. So you definitely get a team in place. You get experts, the retreats ideas, cool idea. He would also look at probably the path of least resistance. He's not going to write this whole complex thing. He'll do something really simple.
Right.
So retreats is one. What else? So simple. Just
simple. So he would keep it simple.
Yeah, less is more, or that kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. So yeah, he definitely keep it simple. He would also do a big, like if you look at any of his brands when it launches, it's like this big media fanfare sort of thing. So he gets the media.
He does fun things. Like, didn't he have like the blimp over? I don't know. But like he's fun, right? Like he's so fun. He's like fun. He's like, how old is he? He's still like water skis and does it like he's fun. And yeah, you're right. He makes it like a media circus around all of his ideas. Like he's great at branding himself.
Yeah. So the branding is great at branding as well through public stunts.
Yes, that's the kind of what I was trying to say, the public stunts.
Flights over the Atlantic in the hot air balloon, for example, when he launched Virgin Atlantic. So that would be one of them, is creating this crazy stunt that gets so much publicity that everyone knows what you're doing.
There you go. What could that be? You could be, and what's your brand, by the way, right? Like, so I know you have your brand for your business, but like, I feel like your brand might be changing a little bit. Like, I feel like you're going to be known as the 0 to 1,000,000 guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, so maybe something to ponder is like, what is your brand? Because what do you want when people think of Eugene? What do you want them to think about when they think of your business and what you're doing? You know, if you weren't in the room, you want people talking the same concept about you, right? What is that? Kind of like how we're talking about Richard Branson right now. He's all about adventure, like he's about this, right? So like, what do you want people to be saying about you?
Yeah, my personal brand is e-com adventure. So there's no point in working your butt off, making all this money, yet you don't enjoy any of it. So I bought my Ferrari and we're traveling and we actually spending the money on things that matter to us. So I spend money on only a few things. So travel would be one. I'm actually quite frugal. I don't buy expensive food or eat at fancy restaurants or fancy hotels or anything. Cars, I spend a lot of money. Porsches, Ferraris, etc. Travel, I travel on a really crazy basis. And then education. So I spend a ton of money on courses, training, coaching, etc.
Okay, well, cool.
On coaches. So that's why I spend money. So it's about having fun, snowboarding, exercising, kickboxing, surfing, dancing, spending time with your partner. Like, what's the point? I've got a saying, my hashtag is experiences matter. Because at the end of the day, what do you remember about your life? It's all the experiences you had and who you had those experiences with. So the true purpose of life is having experiences that matter with the people that you truly love and cherish in your life, sharing those experiences with the ones that you love. That's the point for me about life, creating amazing experiences, and it becomes so much easier to create amazing experiences once you have money. Difficult having experiences if you don't have the cash.
It's true, right? Money allows you to do those things.
Yeah, so my brand is about making the money, creating the business, scaling the business, building the teams, etc. Yes, and having fun while doing it. Doing really fun stuff, working with people who's fun, and then learning. Education, there's a thing that says the more you learn, the more you earn. Who are you learning from? What courses are you doing? Who's your mentors? Who's your coaches, etc. So that's my brand, Ecom Adventures. So it's e-commerce, so making money online sort of thing. That's what I used to do. Maybe it's not that anymore because I make money in different ways. But also having adventures, having fun, not forgetting to live.
I love that. So and I think that's got to shine through somehow. Do you know what I mean? Because you will create a following of people. Like as you're speaking, I'm like, yeah, that's me. I love that, right? Like, so you'll create a following of people that resonate. And I'm just thinking, like, as part of your 90-day, like maybe the ending, you go out with a bang and it's some adventure with people. Or there's this guy, Jesse, he's the husband of the girl who created Spanx, Jesse Itzer or something like that. And I've been following him. I love him because he's all about adventure, and how he's been making his money lately is by doing adventure events, right? So he'll be like, we're all gonna, this is extreme, but he's like, we're all gonna run a marathon. And he's like, gets everybody to these events, and there's like, it's a 2 or 3 day event, and they do these big adventure things or health things. And then he's got like hot saunas and cold plunging. And then they're doing like, so it's like, it's all based around adventure events, right? And then he's also coaching and teaching and giving education as well. So maybe it's like, how do you combine your coaching with high level entrepreneurs who also, you can combine some adventure somehow? Because that's your passion. And whenever you follow your passion, you're going to make money.
Yeah, one of the things that Richard Branson did as well is he had that, can't remember what he did. He was on the windsurfer with this half-naked models. I think my fiance will chop off my
Yeah, he was hilarious.
So he's all about that adventure and fun and doing things that people talk about. And I totally agree with you, his passion. If I do something that's misaligned with my passion, and I did start thinking about music events or gin events or something like that. And we don't really drink that much anymore, hardly ever. So
maybe it's an adventure event instead of a music event. Maybe it's something around what you love to do.
Yeah. So, I also think some sort of event, but specifically for entrepreneurs. So my long-term vision is to create a community for entrepreneurs, or creating an ecosystem for entrepreneurs. So gyms only specifically for entrepreneurial people, or someone who wants to think in that way, personal development, etc. Coffee shops with co-working space, meetup for entrepreneurs. Everything related to entrepreneurship. And then I want to buy the island where we set up the whole training thing. So go out hunt, like in the old days, go and hunt. And when you come home, where do you go to? So go and hunt. And when you get tired, come back to the island, the Entrepreneur Island, which is the home for all entrepreneurs. And there'll be a racetrack with Ferraris and Lambos and stuff. So go race and jet ski and paraglide and all the fun stuff with all those entrepreneurs, your family. And then through the process, you energize yourself, and there's coaching, and I'm going to be there helping you with your strategy about your business. People like you will come in and help the guys. We run workshops, we run training, and in the afternoon, you go and jet ski and drink pina coladas and whatever else, and just connect with the coolest people in the world. And having this home for entrepreneurs, this whole ecosystem of entrepreneurs. So that's my long-term vision. That's what I want to do. So I want to create a home for all entrepreneurs. That's my passion. That's what I'm doing. Everything that I'm doing now is leading up to that. It's about creating homes for entrepreneurs, creating a home, a place. Because what happened when you started your business was the freaking loneliest place ever. No one wanted to talk to you. You can't find anyone. No one wants to listen to you. Everyone's negative, and you want to think about business and talk about business. And everyone just want to talk about the party they had last weekend. So where do you go to? And that's what I want to create. I don't want other people to go through that same lonely journey I went through for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Get home and
well, there's your vision, right? Like, which is awesome.
So maybe having like a really big retreat or like a festival, specifically entrepreneurship festival. We've got a thing called Opi Kopi, which is a music festival like Woodstock, 3-4 days music festival. And instead of having a 3-4 day music festival, you go and you camp and you put up your tent and all sorts of stuff. Instead of having that with music and drugs and alcohol and have that for personal development, where you come set up your tent and it's like 3 days of entrepreneurship with the coolest like entrepreneurs in South Africa. Maybe
I think that would be cool, and you could mix in like this in the morning. There's yoga in the park. We're gonna take a break, and then there's gonna be a hike. Oh, and maybe you get Cobus to do some fire walking, and then you have like, so it's broken up with it. Over there, there's the cold plunge session. And it's like about expanding your mind. Like I might be like, I don't want to do a cold plunge. It's like, no, it's about being here and like immersing yourself in learning different things and getting outside your comfort zone, right? Like and you have sessions and people on stage teaching different things. You could live stream it.
And breakaway rooms, but you sit in nature, not but, sorry. See, 5 years later, I'm still saying but. It didn't hit me hard enough.
$5, that's $5.
So it's you can have this breakaway rooms in nature where you go sit in the veld and under the trees and coach, and everyone's got like different coaches and all the speakers are there for the whole 3 days and they coach with everyone.
This could be a great idea to incorporate all the ideas, right? So like, I'm just thinking, people charge a crap load of money for like think tanks and to get people in front of like-minded people. So like maybe there's even like the VIP session where it's like over there is where people are having huddle rooms, and it's like people get to mastermind on their businesses and what they want support with from 10 other high-end entrepreneurs, and like people pay for that. Do you know what I mean? So like you could incorporate all these different ideas. You can have different ticket structures. You could have the buy-in options from entrepreneurs like we talked about, right? Like the 3 options. You could have different parts of what's going on that are all the different ideas we've talked about. Like if you had one event, you can incorporate a lot of different things in it.
Something I've been thinking about, or something I thought about now while you were saying that, is instead of, so I just realized now my mind's been stuck on running one big event or one big thing. It has to be like one big thing that one shot makes $1 million. What if it's a whole combination of a bunch of small things?
Yeah.
Like having these sort of retreats, and because I don't know if it's just my limiting belief or something blocking me. Someone paying 100,000 Rand for a retreat, just that, I don't know, I've got in a conflict with that. Like, who's going to pay 100,000 Rand for a retreat?
There's people who will.
Yeah, I've got conflict. Like my own limiting belief, can I actually sell? Do I know enough people that got that type of money that would spend it on a retreat? And so maybe kind of meet yourself where you're at and push yourself too hard and fail, sort of thing.
Well, you can build your confidence too, right? Like, and by the way, who knows, as we're brainstorming, maybe it's not great to put all your eggs in one basket, right? So to have, like you said,
different things.
And it's less daunting when you I've thrown events, like throwing big events. We're talking about it like it's easy. I mean, you can do it, yet throwing smaller events with all these ideas could be less daunting, and you'll actually get into action and do it, like breaking it up.
So maybe doing a bunch of smaller events, and then you sell tickets, for example, maybe for 15,000 Rand. where it's like a 4-night away sort of thing, camping, and there's going to be 5 or 10 high-level speakers or coaches or trainers or business people or something at this particular thing. And then throughout the 4 or 5 days out in nature, we've got this breakaway groups that you get chance with different speakers, and we've got activities and fire walk and pole plunges and whatever you want to do, you choose, kind of fit your own thing. We create this really big event. Instead of getting tickets, selling tickets to that event, like at one big sort of thing going out, maybe it's selling at smaller events all over. So creating 10 or 20 small events. Creating like a roadshow, like the singers do. They create this roadshow where they go all over. So we do like a national tour. And instead of having one big event, it's maybe like 10 small events of 100, 200 people.
That, to piggyback on what you just said, so like what we used to do when I was building my business in South Africa is we would, because also too, if you're doing something in South Africa, or you're in Joburg, like you're not limited to, yet you're kind of limited to the area, right? So it's like possibly you have one event and then you promote it as like South Africa tour, right? And so like we would go, like we would do the same event in Johannesburg, and everybody that we knew in Joburg, we would enroll them to bring people, invite people, and then we would pick up and we would go to Durban. And then we would do the same event in Durban. And then we'd pick up and go to Cape Town. We'd pick up and go to Port Elizabeth. We'd hit up the 4 biggies. And that way it just expands your reach, right? And then also too, that's also a buy-in for people who are speaking. It's like, hello, like you're going to be able to get all of South Africa, right? Like, and you just keep honing your craft and picking up more people along the way and stuff. That was really effective.
Yeah, so having some sort of national tour where it's a whole bunch of smaller events. And I'm also thinking, if you do events like that and say, cool, but we're going to reach like 150,000 or maybe 1 million people from an advertising perspective online, and we're going to be in front of maybe 2,000 people over the next 90 days, that's kind of a big number from a marketing perspective. People would pay to get in front of so many eyes. So maybe coming up with, from an investor perspective, coming up with some sort of marketing, PR, branding perspective or package. We say, cool, so how much would it cost you to get 1 million people to see your products or whatever on a regular basis, like ongoing, and getting you in front, like your banners right in the face of 2,000 potential customers, business owners.
Well, that answers your question of like, why would someone pay 50,000 Rand to speak? Well, right there, because you're going to be in front of that audience, and you can pitch take 5 minutes and pitch your product, and they can have access to you afterwards.
Yep.
Cool.
But if we do something like that, because I've done 1 million in 90 days before, and I've got the kind of roadmap to do that in the process and everything. I'm teaching it now. So I've got another group starting in the next week. So one group starting on the 24th, because we only take like 10 or 15 people per group. And then on the 3rd or 4th of Feb, it's on my calendar, that just fell off the table. We've got another group of 15 people starting, where we take them through the process. So I physically coach them through 90 days, helping them kind of make 1 million.
Okay.
So that type of group. So I'm just thinking about maybe running more in a retreat format than a 90-day program. And then instead of having a whole bunch of speakers that I have to convince, because honestly, for them to spend 50,000 Rand on an event is a no-brainer, because what the ad cost is at this point in time, there's no chance they will get in front of 500 or 1,000 people. Spending 50,000 Rand will cost them $500,000. In any case, instead of convincing someone else to pay money for partnering on the event, now I can go to bigger firms and say, look, how much does it cost you to get in front of 2,000 people and get 1 million people to see your products? If you look at, for example, BMW, what would it be worth to them? Maybe Mercedes or something.
Yeah, like you can start getting other sponsors like that who have the money.
Yeah, go to Ferrari, because I've got the car. So when I take it in for service, just say, listen, guys, want to partner on this type of thing and pitch a deal to them. How much would it cost you to get in front of 1 million people?
Yeah, that's cool.
And
actually right there, just with Ferrari, right? Like, and that speaks that I think that's a brilliant idea, actually. Like, and you could probably get quite a few people sponsoring for that.
Because if you think about a billboard, putting up a billboard, that's still a lot of people's form of marketing, is putting up a billboard that no one sees. I mean,
exactly.
No one watches it. You get to a place, I use it at our digital marketing events as well. So everyone drove here. How many billboards did you see? Probably 50, 60, 70. Tell me your top 3. No one can remember even.
Yeah, none.
The only person you see the billboard, your competitor. Otherwise than that, you don't notice any billboards.
Yeah. So,
and they spend $1 million, $2 million on a billboard like that.
Man, you can get sponsors. Like, I think you're onto something here. Like sponsors, like with Ferrari, all the people with deep pockets. Like maybe you get T-shirts made and all the sponsors are thrown on there, and it flashes across the screen, right, when you're doing it virtual. And you could just, maybe there's like a sponsor VIP tent, and and I think that's actually, because once again, it's like you got to find people with deep pockets, right?
Yeah.
Keeping it simple. And by the way, that's something that the Richard Bransons of the world would do.
Yeah. You'd get someone else to pay for everything.
Yes.
You wouldn't pay for it. You'd get someone else to pay for everything.
Right? You know what? Keeping it simple, like just food for thought. It's like the question of who do you know that would just give you $1 million? Like one person. That's simple. Who do you know that would sponsor you $1 million? And be the sole sponsor. Maybe it's just one sponsor and they gave you $1 million. And you work out like a year deal with them. So you say it's this event, but maybe my events for the year, you'll be my sole sponsor. So maybe that's Ferrari.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I think it's also of just looking at the time and realizing.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say maybe we don't do the last guy, but I think we're coming up with some good ideas.
Yeah. So I wouldn't jump off. I'd carry on another 2 hours, but you have to be conscious to everyone watching the videos. Don't know if they're going to watch a 2-3 hours.
No worries.
Stuff.
All good.
So I'm just thinking, like, what do I need to do leaving here? Because I only have 90 days, so I can't just go and chill now for the next week or 2 until we chat again. One of the things that I'm thinking about is I've got some great ideas, so maybe just go and sit and reflect on this, making some time to reflect on this and see what it does. What I have noticed is whatever other idea I come up with, I keep coming back to some sort of entrepreneurial event. So I think that's where my focus needs to be, some sort of entrepreneurial event. That's my values is learning and teaching. It's my top value. It's even higher than wealth creation or connections or anything like that. It's even higher than travel is learning. So learning and teaching. So I think that would fit into my top value. And that is also the thing where I spend the most amount of money, is learning from other people. So I think it just fits in with my values, my philosophies, who I am.
I think that's important, to be honest, and to be aligned with where you're moving forward in the future and your vision exactly, and the type of people you want to surround yourself with. Because it's not just about showing people how to make $1 million. Well, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's also about showing them how to do it with purpose and with passion and intentionally, and to lead to like the next level of your business. Do you know what I mean? And what you're doing. It's like not to just go do something that's an outlier out here that you'll never do again. It's like in a way where it totally aligns. I think that's important part of this process.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it also fits into what I speak about. I speak at these events and stuff, and I'm like, guys, life's too short to be doing, it's a SHIT that you don't like. Life's too short to be doing this stuff, to spend 50 years in a profession that you don't have any passion for. In the same space, I can show you how to make money from your passion. So one of our taglines is profiting from your passion. So living out your passion.
Yeah.
We get home and we say, yes, I'm so tired. You say you're not tired, you're just not inspired. work on stuff that you inspired, then you'll actually put in the time and effort and resource in 16-hour days and then that's needed to be able to scale a business. And so I think the same for me, it's living by the stuff that I teach as well. And that is working on my passion. If I'm going to do a music event or a gin festival or something, we don't drink every weekend and then I don't even know what the alcohols are. So it's not aligned with what I want to do and where I want to go. And it's not the type of people and I don't have connections in this industry. So I think it's coming back to my integrity, my values, my passion, and
keeping
that
it
fits into my
simple.
long-term
I think
vision.
a lot of times people make it difficult for themselves, and that's like a sabotaging, mechanism. So it's like, keep it simple with what you know.
Yeah.
You know what I would recommend for next steps, Eugene, if you're open to it?
Yeah, I am, please.
Because we just downloaded a whole bunch of ideas, and I think sometimes we can get bogged down by ideas, and that could cause some overwhelm and some procrastination. So I would take a look at all your ideas, and like you said, so you just said, right, like you want to do something that's about entrepreneurial teaching, events, giving a value that way. So you know that. So I would take a look at all the ideas and just choose, like, I don't know, the top 10 that stick out for you right now. Because everything, action solves all problems, right? Because you could sit there and be like, well, what should I do? I don't know what's the right thing. Is that even going to turn into all that? Doesn't matter right now. You don't know until you start taking action. So I would just choose the top 10 that resonate with you right now. And tomorrow, not like next week, not like tomorrow, or even if you have the courage tonight, pick up the phone and act on a couple of them. Like, and just trust that it will go to where it's meant to be. Maybe it's a conversation that turns into even better idea. Maybe you have a conversation and it is a roadblock and you can cross that idea off your list. Yet just start acting and trust that the more conversations you have, the answer and solution will come. Yet if you don't start taking action on these ideas, you're just going to get bogged down by your thoughts.
Kelley, can I bounce one more thing off of you? Do you have 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
So I love what you just said. So I'm also thinking about, because I want to record my whole journey, what I go through. So I want to call, I think what I need to do, my next step is make a list of everyone that I think would want to be involved with us in some way, whether it's investments, whether it's partnerships, whether it's coaching, whatever. Just calling everyone tomorrow, and not everyone, like maybe 10 or 20 or 30 people, making a list and just say, hey guy, I'm busy with this sort of program, or this is the challenge that I'm busy with. Can you be part of it, or do you want to be part of it? Can we meet up and chat about it? So I'm going to call all of them tomorrow, or tomorrow's Sunday, maybe Monday morning, maybe tomorrow.
Well,
just send them a voice.
Why not tomorrow, right? Like you're friends with a lot of these guys. Be careful you don't create a story that you can't call somebody on a Sunday. They're going to be free.
So call someone, or call a lot of these guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
What should that conversation be? So just say, look, I'm busy with this challenge. I haven't figured it out yet. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I do know that there's synergy in our involvement. Do you want to be somehow part of this? Can we set up a meeting and brainstorm it? What should I, so I want to ask them, do you want to be part of it? But what's the call to action?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would be careful that you don't have meetings for the sake of meetings, right? So if you're going to make a list of people, I would say, do you remember how I taught you the meaningful conversation? Like so now you're going to be moving into what's called enrollment. How do you get other people to do what you want them to do, yet for their reasons, right? So you have an agenda, yet you want to enroll people into it, yet it's got to be for their reasons. And so when you're inviting, I would first of all get clear on what are you inviting them to? So if you're calling these guys, are you inviting them because you want them to be an investor? You're wanting them to be a speaker? You're wanting so I would maybe it's yeah, like I would have some clarity around what you're calling, because if you're not clear when you call these guys, they're not going to be clear on what you're asking them or what you're wanting to talk to them about. So I'd have some, and it could be a couple things, right? Like you might say, hey, listen, I'm doing this event, 0 to a million, and share your why, right? Which is inspiring and exciting and creates the curiosity. And I'm looking for people who are going to participate this in a few different ways. Here they are, boom, boom, boom. right? I would love to talk to you about you participating in a way that works for you. And so then I think the conversation would be, where do they fit, instead of you trying to fit them somewhere, right? So I would have like, maybe that's what I would recommend. So like, just so you have some clarity when you're on the call and you can be in a space of certainty versus not being sure, is that you're certain about your event. You know why you're doing it, that you're coming from a big knowing space. And then now you need people to make it happen. And you need people in different ways. So I would maybe take tomorrow morning and just think about, what are the different ways I need people? And then when you're calling these guys, the conversation might be, where would they fit? And that's maybe the conversation to have.
Awesome.
And be open from abundance, right? Because you need investors, you need speakers who might be investors or just speakers. You need people who can be a one-to-many and bring a bunch of people. You need, maybe somebody's not willing to participate that way, yet they're great at ideas and they have networks and resources, right? You need people who have the space so like, what kind of sponsors do you need? Somebody who has the space to do things for free, people who are going to be able to teach for free, or different things, right? So maybe make a few categories of the type of people you're going to need. And then when you're chatting with them, just say, here's some things I'm looking for. I want to have a conversation because I value you on how you, what option you would like to participate in, and just have that conversation.
Yeah, yes, my mind's going all over. One of the things I've been thinking about is, what would be the process of getting someone like Tony Robbins to South Africa to be the main speaker at the event? Bring a big name in. Yeah, the mosquitoes are trying me. It's middle of summer here, so the mosquitoes are in full force. You feel your feet lifting up.
Not over here.
Yeah. So yeah, -50.
-50, I was telling Eugene this morning. Yeah. It's crazy.
So getting a high level speaker in, for example, to be a pulling thing towards this, or maybe, any case, without me getting ahead of myself, I think, let's end it there.
Yeah, I would just start with what you're, don't use the word comfortable with, but start with something that you'll do, an action you'll do, just so that you get into momentum. And all these other big ideas are going to keep going. Yet you just got to start. And I think you're right. Start with people that you want to have participate, and just ask them for what you want. Just be honest, and then ask for where they think they would fit and what they need to participate.
I think also what I need to start doing tomorrow is recruiting my team. Start calling a few people that I want on my team, like someone that can build a website, someone that can design some ads for me, someone that knows marketing, someone that's maybe in the PR space, someone that's maybe in the virtual assistant space. So maybe start mapping out, like, what is if you look at our organogram, because this is a business, whether it's 90 days or whatever, it's still a 90-day business. Who are the people that I need in this team, and start seeing who do I know, and pitch them as well, because I don't have money to pay them, so I need to have some sort of.
Okay, yeah. So you can't use your current team.
No.
Or could you use your current team and ask them to do a pro bono?
No team, anything. So there has to be external people. I need to do deals to do it. So I won't be able to pay them. So maybe, what else would someone value to be part of it? I'll think about that. So I think tomorrow I'm also going to start recruiting my team, getting on the phone call and just calling a few people.
Exactly. So it'll lead to it. Like, I mean, they could be a part of the sponsors. Like, you could advertise them right there. Like, hello, like you just said, they're going to be in front of how many people, right? That's how much business would that get them? A lot.
What's the biggest problem for most businesses is they don't have a clue how to generate customers.
Exactly.
Generate customers on a consistent basis. Now, imagine you're on this docu-series.
You need their skill, and you have an audience.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Kelley,
I think that's a great place. Start with those two things. People from the investor and like needing them to be involved stage, and then the team that you're building. And just start there, and don't just call your list, and just trust that it'll go the way it's meant to.
Yeah. I think tomorrow's a great time to call as well, because Monday is going to be super hectic. And then by the time that I'm done on Monday, everyone's in the evening and tired. And then tomorrow, everyone's like a chill. And I actually have time to do that on a Sunday.
Yeah. So there's never a wrong day to call people. That's just a mindset.
Yeah. No, I think the people to call tomorrow would be Good. I think tomorrow's a calling day. Jump on the call.
Tomorrow is going to be amazing. You're going to call people. They're going to answer. You're going to have good conversations. You're going to enroll people. And it's just going to start the process.
Oh, yeah. Kelley, thanks so much for your time.
I'm excited.
So I'll send you a WhatsApp, then we can just arrange some times and dates for our next session. Thanks for being part of the show, and thanks for being part of my coaching team. And
thanks for including me.
Coaching.
Yeah, I value you. You want to make a big difference, and your intentions are from your heart, and I love that. So thanks for including me. I'm inspired.
Awesome. Next up, we're doing your challenge. 0 to $1 million Canadian dollars in 90 days.
Okay, I'm done. I'm down.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelley.
Okay, have a good day. Good luck and have fun tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye.